Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stuff I Find Interesting, or SIFI for short. This is episode 2. We fixed the lights. We have a microphone now, and the camera is now mounted, sort of. It's not on a toilet paper roll though anymore, so we're moving ahead. I'm feeling like we're almost official and stuff. It's kind of nuts, right? Okay, here we go. Hope everybody's having a good day or night or whatever. We are going to start out in no particular order. What happens is I download a bunch of stuff and I say, ooh, that's cool, ooh, that's cool, ooh, that's cool. And then I collect it like a demented squirrel hoarding information. And then I just throw it together into different, it's more or less which ones come first, I guess. So let's see what we have this week. This is called a native land map. And if you've never seen this, you can go to your part of the world. Well, we're going to go to my part of the world over here. This area in here. And I can easily see that there's all these tribes that overlap that lived here at one time. The Munse Lenape, I'm pretty sure I'm saying that wrong, but they're in Wisconsin now, which is very strange, but they recognize that area as being their home. Now, if we go down and we start looking at this, we see things like Session 99, Session 25, Session 26, Session 196. Well, what's all that, right? Like, what does that mean? Let's turn off the territories and just keep the treaties. These are the treaties. So basically, everything that you see here was not so much taken because the Indians most of them didn't necessarily believe in like the land belonging to them. That was like a foreign concept. So, a bunch of dudes would come by with stuff maybe that they valued, and they'd say, hey, we want to buy some of your land. And the Indians, who have no concept, are like, sure. Obviously, they got hit pretty quick, and there was a bunch of bloodshed. But when I look at this, I can't help but feel a little bit sad. If we ask that some people call it the invasion of America. You know what? We could call that, but what's done is done, and we're here. And I think it's important to recognize that we were not the first. It's important to take care of those people, than people on the reservations, which we don't do. 1.5 billion acres, an area 25 times the size of the United Kingdom, was taken. 1.5 billion acres. That's a lot. So the tenuous grasp of the subject is regrettable, if unsurprising, given that the conquest of the continent is both essential to understanding the rise of the United States and deplorable. That doesn't make any sense. I don't think this person speaks English as their first language because there's like some weird, maybe it's run through a translator. But you can see this matches up with what I just showed you on the Native American map. It shows all the stuff that was seized. Now, interestingly, supposedly, I have relatives that were on the Trail of Tears. One was a great-great-grandfather, maybe great-great-great-grandfather. He was a soldier. The other one was a great-great-grandma, and she was a Cherokee. The story goes the two of them fell in love. I don't buy that for a second. He probably kidnapped her. It's a horrible thing to say, but not inaccurate. Okay, now check out this picture. Woohoo! If I showed you this picture and I said, what do you think this is? Like, look at that. Where is that? What is that? This is actually Wan Ming Wan. And the picture was taken by Ernst Ulmer in 1873. there were 12 pictures that were taken of this location. This is located at in China. This was the Garden of Perfect Brightness was the name of it. I have some more information here and some better stuff. But for a minute here, what am I doing? Okay. When we think of Chinese structures, we think of something that's probably more like this, right? This is not by Ernst Ulmer. I'm not sure who took this. This might be Thomas Child. He was a famous photographer who took a lot of pictures of China. Back when you could sort of travel a little bit more freely, and China was more sort of not quite as unified as it is now, for better, for worse. Well, look, we have a little window or door up there, and we go up. We got some crazy. What is that? That's neat. Look at that. A lightning tower. I don't know. Some might say ancient power device. Let's go down here. All right. Let's see. We got this dude. He's saying hello to his ancestors, perhaps. And there's his son and his grandson. And they're like, oh, Pop, come on. No, I have no idea if that's what they are or not. But I like to imagine these things. But look how cool this thing is. I mean, it's just like wild. Oh, something I learned last time. I need to broaden my vocabulary. I said interesting like 50 times. Maybe I should call this the terrible show and not things that are interesting show. You got to start somewhere though, right? These are some more pictures by Thomas Child. I'm going to try to enlarge it just a little bit. I don't know if I can. You jackass. Let's do this. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. Let's try this. That's a little better. I mean, at least you can see it. So this is the Huan, or the Emperor's Palace, and these are some pictures from that general area. And you can see here's some camels, not real camels. A interesting looking bridge. It reminded me of the game Myst. I think the third one, or Exile. I don't know. There's a bridge that looks like that. We have some more impressive structures. There's so much in the world to see. We have a little temple, and we're going to stop there because we don't need to go any further. So the Wanmingyang, before its destruction, was referred to as the Garden of Gardens, since it was a combination of gardens of different styles, Chinese and Western. Huanminghuan consisted of 3 gardens. Huangminghuan, the Garden of Perfect Splendor, Changchenghuan, the Garden of Eternal Spring, and Qichunhuan, Garden of Gorgeous Spring. They covered 350 hectares. The southern part of the huge garden was occupied by palatial buildings where emperors handled state affairs. Over the rest of the garden were scattered 40 scenic areas, which each consisted of smaller landscapes, 50 of them being an imitation of the garden. For example, were copies of the top 10 scenic spots of Hangzhou's West Lake, with identical borrowed names. The best-known Western structures were a fountain, a maze, which has actually since been restored, and European palaces, all of a Renaissance style. A small lake was built in the model of Venice. The emperor's apartments were adorned with art treasures of astonishing richness. The garden was beautified by millions of exotic flowers and trees. Wanminghuan was located to the east of the Summer Palace. Construction started in 1709 and was completed after 150 years. It's considered a masterpiece in Chinese garden. The 10,000 flower labyrinth, one of the scenes in the Garden of Perfect Splendor, has been reconstructed. Oh yeah, see, I just said that. It is a maze of winding paths between low walls on the eastern part of the... I guess I need to move that. And I have a cat again. What are you doing, cat? Come on. I cannot see. I cannot see. No, I cannot. You're in the way. I find cats pretty interesting. What are you doing? Okay, are we going to do this now? Really? Okay. Give me a second. Come on. Are you coming? Or are you just going to chew on my microphone? Yeah, you need to come down. Here you go. There you go. Have a seat. Okay, sorry about that. No, she doesn't want to stay. She wants me to. Sometimes I hold her and I rock her like a baby, and she really likes that. So that's what she wants. Okay, I am an exciting person, right? Okay, check this out. We have the Garden of Perfect Brightness. And if we go, we can see it roughly look like this. This is a terrible picture, but you can kind of see the gist of what it looked like. Very sprawling and opulent. That's a good word, opulent. And now it's opened back up, and there's a lot of controversy. The controversial replica of the Old Summer Palace, or Huanminghuan, Beijing's renowned garden complex, that was looted by British and French troops in 1860, opened its gates on May 10th in Dongyang, Zhejiang province. It cost $4.8 billion in American dollars. It covers more than 400 hectares. It also is next to a film studio. Everything's supposed to be original. That's pretty much it. But some people they think it's money that should have been spent on other things. But the thinking is that each page of history matters for today's people. I want to present the old days' glory to nurture patriotism among the young generation by letting them better know our ancestors' creativity and turn people's sorrow to eagerness for peace. God, I can't imagine why people might be sorrowful in that part of the world. I'm being sarcastic, of course. I would love to go to China. Just incredible place. Every single person I've ever met from there is just a delight. This is something I found completely random. And I said, ooh, what's this? It's the New York Times. And I pulled up the headlines from 1851. So in 1851, we had an exhibition at Castle Garden. There was a wedding. A police officer died. It just says consecrated burying ground. I don't know what that means. An unwarlike charger. A slight fire. Attempted highway robbery. Attempting to use the knife. A severe fall. Another omnibus accident. Reckless driving. Signing the testimonial of the provisional bishop-elect of New York. Important arrest of juvenile burglars. Arrest of disorderly bloomers. Arrest of ingenious house robbers. Robbing a vessel. Arrest of a fugitive. Supreme Court, U.S. Circuit Court, Common Pleas Court Calendar. Now these all, you can click on it and probably read more of it, but I don't have a, what do you call it? I know there's a way around it, so like if anybody knows, just like let me know how to do that, because that would be cool. For the purposes of sharing, so that you might want a subscription yourself, of course. All right. Now, one of the things I like to do is I like to find pages that I really like. And one of the pages is this guy, Ozymandias. And this guy posts the best freaking art, like in the best quality. Look at that. It's like the moon. The moon is hiding behind the sheet, I guess. Here we have some medieval art. No, early Renaissance art. We have a lizard and a horse. Some kind of something going on there. We have owls. Who? We have owls. Who? We have owls. That was a total dad joke. Yeah, I think that's probably just something that he likes. But I saw one that I really liked. Like, check this out. This is wild. Pretty cool, right? Anyway, that's Ozymandias, which is the famous poem by Percy Shelley. And the line that inspires that particular name is, I met a traveler from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survived, stamped on these lifeless things. The hand that mocked them and the heart that fed, and on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing besides remain round the decay of that colossal wreck. Boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. Pretty cool, right? I like that. That's Ozymandias. All right, moving on to the next thing, we have coffee. And I love Reddit because it has a lot of cool stuff on it. I spend a lot of time on Reddit. This thing here is a gas lamp that dispenses coffee. And it was, how do I close this stupid thing out? Oh, I don't. Never mind. I forgot how to computer for a minute. It was installed in front of the police station. But eventually it got taken down because people learned that you could put tin in it in the shape of coins that you used to rig it. So in a way, this was like the first like hacking, right? Or hack the street lamp to get some hot coffee. It's called a Pluto lamp, in case I didn't say that already. And if we go down, it says they were developed by a company founded in 1896. Also known as the Hot Water Supply Syndicate or the Refreshment Lamp Syndicate. That sounds like a band, right? So it provided hot drinks, illumination, and then there was one that was connected to Scotland Yard. It had a special phone or something, I guess. I don't know. But that's pretty cool, right? So 1,000 pieces of tin were found inside. So I am proud of my peoples. Because that's great. All right, there we go. Bye, guys. You look very dignified. And we have a woman right here. I think that's the only one. She's probably the wife of somebody. Now, in the spirit of coffee, this is a beautiful building that I found, which is in Melbourne, Australia. And the reason why I stopped and I found it so interesting is because I said, Melbourne, like Australia? You know, I started thinking of the bush and, you know, just all the things that Americans think about Australia. And I was like, wow, this building is just freaking wild. Look at this. It's like they went crazy with it, right? With the little curly cues. Oh, we've got more ancient power devices. I'm half kidding when I say that, by the way, and I'll explain some other time. So I wanted to show you this beautiful building, the Federal Coffee Palace in Collins St. West. It's an albumin silver photograph. And you can always tell albumin silver photographs because they kind of have this hue, and there's a sharpness to them that you don't really get with other photographs. I mean, look at that. Yay, they're flying. They're hauling ass. In the Melbourne tramway. So I can't help but think, though, that's a really big building. Like, they built such big buildings back then for who? For what? Like, the population was 3,000, and they built something like this. Like, I don't understand. I guess in hopes that more people will come? I don't know. Next, we're going to talk about fashion. I love fashion. And this is a fashion show that I found that just, I love it. I hate it. I want every single piece in this collection. We're just going to scroll. So here we have you can see that they're puffy, and there's like a little train. Looks like they're made out of plastic. They're probably hot as all get out. They're chilling in their puffy gowns. Those colors are really cool, though. I really like those colors. I'm not sure how I feel about the hood. Kind of look like a worm or the head of a snake. Look at that. This is the outfit that I would want the most. If I could only pick one, I would want this one. It's just without the hood, though. Without the hood. That's one of those lizards that when it gets mad, it expands its neck. No, that's one of the weirder ones. Here we have a gentleman rocking one of these. Oh, here we go. We got the side view of the military-looking one. I'm thinking that's probably not good for combat. Right? Here we have another pink thing. This is the one with the train and sort of the cape that looks like a lifeboat. Look at this eye-popping color, orange and pink. Orange and pink is an interesting combination. And here they all are posing with the one turned around. And I think this is the last one. But she's just buried in that thing. You would want to have a fan up underneath there, I would think. Okay, let's talk about art. So I came across a cool artist, and let's focus on his name for a minute so we can give him proper credit. And his name is Alga. And I'm going to show you his website. And I'll make sure I share all of these links. This time I'll get it right, I swear, so that everybody can look on their own. So Alga seems to have painted here someone took the psychedelic pill and picked up a little person. Either picked them up or putting them back in. But I just love this picture. It's just, this dude is so expressive. He's like, it's very cool. So, seeing this art, what do you think the guy who made it looks like? Hopefully he doesn't get mad. I think his stuff's amazing. I'm not making fun of you, dude. Let's see. Okay, here we go. There's a better picture of him. Here we go. There he is. So, yep. He looks pretty much, I think, what you would expect. He's probably been to a few drum circles. Probably uses natural beauty products. Not to stereotype, but you know what I mean. I am stereotyping. God, I gotta stop that, huh? That's bad. It's because of my age. No, it's not. All right, what do we have here? What do I have here? Oh, yeah, in the middle of the freaking desert. A bunch of numbers. And some craters. So I'm thinking maybe this is like a military area. But it's like in the middle of nowhere. I can keep going. So this is Western Sahara, which I've been looking at a lot this week for whatever reason. I think it just showed up in my thingy. And interestingly, and just below Western Sahara, in Mauritania, we have, where is it? The Richat structure, which is also called the Eye of the Sahara, and it is located there. See, Mauritania. And it is very large, from what I understand, and when you're on the ground, you can't tell that it looks like that. It doesn't look like that. It's just kind of flat. So, even though it doesn't look flat, I mean, there's a little ridge there, from what I understand, a little ridge there, but for the most part, you can just, sort of walk through it. So, this is crazy, right? Now, I saw a thing this week on YouTube where the guy said that this clearly is Atlantis. And the evidence is, if you look at the coast, if something were to fall off the continental shelf underwater, like a huge piece of land, like the Canary Islands, it would create a tsunami that would come up and kind of wipe that all out. So, who's to say? I think maybe I probably have to call Ancient Aliens, huh? And get them on the case. Say, hey man, they've probably done it already. I could probably look that up. Okay, we're in the home stretch. Hopefully you're still interested. This is the Eternal Circle, an illustrated history of yurt. I gardened with a woman who's amazing, and she lived in a yurt. It was cool. and she would come to work with a jar of homemade salad dressing, and she would go out in the woods on gardening breaks, and she would pick a salad she would forage for her meal. That was pretty interesting. Way more hardcore than me. I like my comforts. Yeah. So we're going to talk about an illustrated history of yurts. Here we have a picture of a yurt. Yurt is also known as a ger, G-E-R. Birthplace of the yurt is Central Asia. Central Asia is fascinating. It's just, there's so much to it that, like, I didn't know anything about it till, like, I was an adult and started tooling around the internet. And I was like, wow, you know. And then you start to realize how much you don't know and how big the world is. But anyway, so Genghis Khan had one. And they were first mentioned by Greek historian Herodotus. And he described them as dwellings that were pulled on carts. So they would have been pulled like this, or they would have been sort of rolled up and dismantled. They are formed of rods covered with felt, and being exactly round and nicely put together, they can gather them into one bundle and make them up as packages, which they carry along with them in their migration upon a sort of car with 4 wheels. So when they're ready to move, they pack it up and they go. So the construction is, we have something that looks sort of like that gazebo fencing that you see in America. Sometimes people put that up. And then we have some poles, and then we have the circular things. So we have the tono, which is the ring, the uni, which are the poles, bagana, 2 decorative upright posts that support the crown, and kana, the crisscross lattice walls, usually made from willow, birch, or poplar. Okay, they're a little bit more fancy than just those ones I was thinking of. This is what it might look like inside. You can see we have a table. The eating is different. People sit on the floor to eat. There's not like, you don't sit at a table on a chair. Chairs are not as common in that part of the world, which is interesting to me. While the design and the name of the Turkic crown differ from its Mongol counterpart, hence here it's called a shenrek, its significance as a symbol remains the same. It remains on the Kyrgyz flag and the Kazakh seal. So it's of such importance that it appears on government documents, because it's considered sacred. Now you might say, why is it considered sacred? So the eternal circle is the sky above, because they don't stay eternally. They pick up and they move, and they pick up and they move. But the sky is always the same. So it's a different type of attachment to the world than we have in the modern world, which I find fascinating. So, the history of the yurt. Now, last time I said we were going to talk about Hollow Earth, and we're going to talk a little bit about Hollow Earth, and then we're going to wrap things up. So this guy in the 1800s believed and wrote a book and staked his claim upon the fact that there is no North or South Pole. Where they are supposed to exist, there are really wide openings to the hollow interior of the Earth. Flying saucers come from the hollow interior of the Earth. The hollow interior of the Earth is warmed by the central sun, which is the source of the aurora borealis, don't you know? It's 76 degrees all the time. Arctic explorers found the temperature to rise as they traveled north. They saw butterflies, blah, 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 blah. There's a large population composing a civilization far in advance of our own in its scientific achievements, which probably descended from the sunken continents of Lemuria and Atlantis. See, there's Atlantis again. Flying saucers are only one of their many achievements. It would be to our advantage to contact these elder brothers and learn from them. The existence of a polar opening in the land beyond the poles is probably known to the U.S. Navy, in whose employ Admiral Byrd made his 2 historic flights, and which is probably a top international secret. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of funny stuff that goes on with these types of explorations, but I don't think Admiral Byrd found a hole in the earth with like a bunch of people inside, and they were like, "Hey, what's up, Admiral Byrd?" And he's like, "Whoa, what's up with you?" Anyway, voyage to our hollow earth. So there was going to be a voyage on June 26, 2007, a little while ago. When I say I find things on the internet, I really find things on the internet. It cost 18 to 20,000 to be on this trip, and one of the main guys involved in it died, and so the trip was canceled. So it never happened. They never went to Hollow Earth. Voyage Hollow Earth never happened. So it's interesting, right? I mean, I don't mean there's like a conspiracy, but it's interesting that, that they didn't get there. I don't know. So this is the Hollow Earth, in case you've never seen this. Hollow Earth factor fission. Or here we have Admiral Byrd, so he swooped down in here. Here's a saucer going to Venus. It's saying when we detonate bombs, it goes back into their land. Spaceship to and from other galaxies. Rainbow City. Brazil. Oh, that's Brazil on our side. This is the inner side. Cave city of semi-advanced race. Man-made tunnels. And city of Shambhala, which is a mystical city. Almost like, I guess, a heaven. There is a real place, though, called Shambhala. There's also a song by Three Dog Night called Shambhala. Now, who do you think is all over this Hollow Earth theory? That's right, ancient aliens. Yep. So, in that particular episode, yeah, they're talking about Hollow Earth, but they're also talking about large reservoirs of water have been found, which is potentially good news if we can get to it, because we've got a lot of water issues in the world, and there's probably a million people who are thirsty right now. I can go over to my sink, I can turn it on, I can drink some cold water. Oh, look, I have some water here. But in many places you can't do that. Now, I can't help but think that it's pictures like this that that sort of foster this idea that the Earth is hollow. Because look at that. How could you not think the Earth is hollow? Looking at that damn picture. Look at that big old hole. And there's probably water down there. This happens a lot. The Discovery Channel once had like 5 episodes back to back on sinkholes. I was like, geez, enough already. But yeah, sinkholes are scary. Sinkholes are scary because there's a lot of pockets in the Earth, and there's spaces, just like there's mountains. You have vacuums of space. Not vacuums, but you've got emptiness, empty pockets. So there's I think we're done with that. Let me see. This is, I didn't mean to go here. These are cool pictures, though. That's not a cool picture. I mean, it's just sad. Where is this? To relocate. Okay, I didn't mean to click on this. This whole thing's going to shit real fast. Okay, Hollow Earth. I don't believe in it. I think if there's aliens, they're interdimensional. You know what I mean? All right, totally random. This is my random find of the week. Steel water towers associated with South Dakota water systems. An historic context. So, if anybody wants to know about steel water towers, I'm your girl. If we go all the way down to the bottom, we have pictures of the different kinds. So we got the bulby ones, we got the squat ones, we got the ones that are more round, flying saucer looking ones, beer can shape, more beer can shape, more beer can shape. So yeah, and then also they used to be shaped more like this. Where is it? That's the Sioux Falls Water Tower. There it is. This is the South Dakota State Penitentiary Water Tower. And that's what this is. And I just think that's really cool. In Europe, there's a lot of water towers that are very interesting, and they were thoughtfully planned out to be beautiful, which I love. This is a penitentiary. This structure is beautiful. Maybe it's not beautiful on the inside, though. This was another totally random thing I came across. How to make a paper airplane fly forever. I can't even say it because I'm so like, you take a paper plane, you turn on all of your burners, and you put the plane above it, and you watch it fly on the air currents. And how could it be a bad idea, right? I mean, wow. That's crazy to me. Now, just to bring up, last week we talked about Lake Baikal, and these are the depths of the lakes. Lake Titicaca has a depth of 922 meters. I don't know how far that is, but we were talking about Lake Baikal last week, and you can see how deep it is and how it goes beyond Lake Superior, Lake Huron, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, or the Gulf of St. Lawrence, or the first beginning of the Atlantic Ocean before it drops off. So that's Lake Baikal. In that picture that I saw, and I said, I don't know who that is. I want to find out who that is. This guy, this is Jean-Léon Gérôme, or Jerome. I've heard it pronounced both ways, but he painted some exquisite scenes. They're just, I love his stuff. It's just so rich in color and in detail, and it's somehow more real than real, if that makes sense. So I answered that question. Now, before we look at the Tower of Babel and finish off, we are going to talk about the history of love hidden in lacrimatory bottles. You might say, what's a lacrimatory bottle? Like, what is that? Well, it's like when you take a bottle and you put your tears in it, and then you seal it up, and then you have those tears of your loved one. So they have a history that dates back to 400 BC, when women kept the tears they shed for their husbands who joined the army or lost their lives, revealing both history and love's past. These bottles, kept in the Kayseri Archaeological Museum in central Kayseri province, are of particular interest on Valentine's Day. Not really. This was a Valentine's Day article. The tears poured into these bottles, used by women in different periods to depict their love, give clues as to how love was experienced in the past. So the lacrimatory bottles can come in a variety of forms, such as pots, tubes, candelabra, and reels. So it's whatever people had. And sometimes the women might put tears in a bottle and then bury the bottle with their loved one. They cork it up. The moment they remove the cork, it evaporates, and the mourning can end. So there's a symbolic thing too. Someone dies, you put your tears in a bottle, you cork it up. After a year of mourning, I would presume, you pop it out and you let it evaporate. So, pretty interesting, right? Lacrimatory bottles. Now, it's actually even cooler than that. I'm kicking myself that I didn't bring up some pictures for you, because they're very cool. Let's find. There we go. So this is someone who strictly collects lacrimatory bottles. That's it. And they only have 2 antique bottles. Okay, well, I guess business isn't booming right now. But I would imagine they are not, like, everywhere. Like, you probably can't really, like... And also, you have to identify. I mean, if it was used for lotion or something, and then it got emptied out, and then it was used for tears, like, you would never know. All right, but we have some fancy bottles. Okay, now we're going to finish off with the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel was the biggest structure that was to be built ever, and because everybody spoke different languages and they couldn't understand each other, it never got built. So we're just going to tool around this picture for a little bit, because it's just amazing, the detail that's put into this. Like, if we go down here, all the way down here, look at how much I freaking zoomed. Got a dude, and he's doing the rudder thing. He's helping the boat go. And if we zoom all the way out, he's just like an afterthought there, you know. Now we can go up here. We've got a little caves. I love caves. Got some ships, little shipyard. This is kind of cool over here. This would be probably the gateway to the town. There's a peddler that would probably be there, like the modern version of the food cart. I love the food cart. Here we have some ancient cranes. So these are the cranes that they used to use. They work pretty much the same way our pulleys and cranes work now, but obviously they're built a little bit different and theoretically are not as powerful. But I don't know. I think at different times in mankind's history we were way more advanced than we give ourselves credit for. Got a little dude climbing up the ladder. This dude's going up some stairs. He's got some wood in his hand. I don't know what that is. Someone the other day said there was a dragon in here. I have not yet found a dragon. I'm telling you, it's just there's no dragon here. Why would there be a dragon? This guy's pointing. He's like, hey. And that guy's like, hey. These guys are hammering. And if we go up to the last part, to the part that they're still working on, this is interesting. You can see that it's stone. And this is brick. It was very common in the Middle East to build structures around existing stone. In addition, this probably was a pre-existing structure that's now being added onto, and it's so ancient that it's kind of fallen apart. That's my interpretation. I could be wrong. But Peter Bruegel was just obviously a genius. We've got some birdies. There's a little dude on top of the mast. We've got a cloud. And if we go to the very top, we got two dudes looking down going, whoa, that's really far. Okay, let me see if I forgot to say anything. I don't think so. So that was stuff I find interesting too. Hopefully this was better than the first one. And I'm going to keep doing these, if only for my own, I don't know, development, self-growth, right? It's good to build those speaking skills. So with that being said, I'm going to once again repeat what Charmaine Ford said, which is if you can't enhance, elevate, or encourage, then exit. And with that, I'll bid you adieu.